Let's start with that Tennessee-Cincinnati game. Tennessee, the 1 seed. Oh, and by the way, 3 of the favorites lost with home field advantage. Kansas City almost did. But Tennessee, the 1 seed, coming off a bye. They're getting Derrick Henry back. They ran him a lot. He really wasn't on a count. They talked about him not being on a pitch count. Heck, I think he carried the ball for 20 times. Really wasn't all that effective. That Bengals defense rose up for the most part. And outside of the one long run by Donta Foreman, I mean, they were good. They were good. They did a really good job on the ground defending it, forcing it back onto Ryan Tannehill to make plays. And unfortunately, Ryan Tannehill, he's a good quarterback. He made some throws. He made some plays. He put his team, in close proximity, a chance to win some of those games, that game. But, he just came up a little short. I don't think that he has, that elite characteristic. He can lead you there and he can get you wins, but he needs to have his run game going. He needs to have his defense going. Defense was going. They sacked Joe Burrow 9 times, but it wasn't ultimately enough to overcome the 3 interceptions. And the last one, it's a batted ball. It's tough. I understand you're trying to squeeze it in there in the 2-minute situation. And then you get that boomerang that comes back. And when you give the ball to Joe Burrow, you know what he's going to do. But Joe Burrow, 28 to 37, 348. He throws the 1 pick. It's off Samaje Perine's hands, gets tipped, ultimately gets intercepted. But, you're not really putting that on the quarterback. Like, no one's going to sit there and say that Joe Burrow didn't play a great game. He is part of this changing face of the NFL. The changing of the guard is the Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers. These guys, Drew Brees has already left. As these guys start to age out, this is the new era. And this is one of the guys right here in Joe Burrow. He's got first playoff victory in Cincinnati Bengals history on the road. Think about that. I mean, this isn't, the oldest franchise in the world, but it's definitely not an expansion. It's not the Houston Texans. It's not the Panthers, the Jags. And this thing's been around for a while. And the fact this is the first road playoff game for a franchise that's been to 2 Super Bowls. Think about that. Pretty impressive stuff by Joe Burrow and what he was able to do. And the fact Jamar Chase, back-to-back 100-yard receiving games for a rookie. I believe I heard the stat that it's the first time in NFL history that's happened. I mean, he is a remarkable player. And I'll keep saying this because I think it's important to admit when you're wrong. I was a guy saying they should have drafted Penei Sewell. Bad move. Bad move, Bob. Now, they still can't protect Joe Burrow. He's got sacked 9 times. And they've got to protect him and find a way this offseason to bolster that offensive line. But right now, Joe Burrow's been hanging tough. He's been surviving. He's been finding his guy, Jamar Chase. They got T. Higgins the year before. They gave him the weapons, and now you're beginning to see this. And this is the new mantra in the NFL. Draft a young quarterback, make sure you got the right guy, and then give him weapons. Get weapons around him. They got Tyler Boyd. They got Joe Mixon. They have everything they basically need. Now, you just can't be getting your quarterback sacked 9 times because the only way to overcome your QB getting sacked 9 times is to force 3 interceptions on the other end. And that's what ultimately happened with Ryan Tannehill. So now the question is, where did the Titans go? They were the 1 seed. They had it all set up. Kansas City would have had to come to them. They don't get it done. They lose to Cincinnati in the divisional round. And Mike Vrabel's going to have to do some soul searching. Defensively, they're good. They're checking a lot of boxes. Heck, they held the Bengals to 19 points. 3 of them were a walk-off game-winning field goal by Chris Evans, who apparently he's got ice in his veins. Talking about before he goes out to kick it, like, can't wait to go to the AFC Championship next weekend. And the guy's got ice. But Mike Vrabel's going to have to do some soul searching. Is Ryan Tannehill the guy to take you to the next level? You brought in Julio Jones. You paired him with your offensive weapons. You had some elite ones right there already, and it just wasn't enough. And so you have to look like Ryan Tannehill's good. He's a nice player. I think he can get you to the Super Bowl. I think he can even win you one. But I don't know if it's going to always be because of him. If you dump it back onto him, I don't know if he's a guy that can truly carry one of these teams all the way to the promised land. I think he can get you close. And if everybody's playing well, then he can be someone who facilitates it all. I just don't think that he's ever going to be a guy that will truly be the ultimate difference maker for your team. And so the Bengals are moving on, going to take on Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium. And Houday Nation is certainly fired up about this because not only are they going, but they feel like you've got your guy, for the next 10 to 15 years in Joe Burrow and what he's been able to do.